ready for takeoff.
He's Metz. He's Tass. It's the Metzger Tassoul Show.
Tass?
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Well, it's amazing.
We like to do 2 openings and then have people vote on which one they like better.
That's right. Good. Make sure they're all paying attention.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm glad to see that you guys are phasing me out. I didn't appear in the video, and so that's great. I'm know that that's starting to happen now behind the scenes, which is
I told you.
well
You'd
done.
notice.
Well done. Yeah, it's all good.
It's a slow phase out.
Yeah, I know.
So, Perry, what does that mean? That it's gray? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No. All right. All right. Hold on. So if you're tuning in, grab a drink, grab a snack.
A drink.
Perry, are we on? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how's the day, man? 47 degrees it's going to drop down to here in Orlando.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we got, I don't know, about an inch of snow last night, freezing rain and snow.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right, but an inch is nothing, right? Like schools don't close over that, do they?
No, schools don't close over that. It's the problem is it was this wet. It started off as rain, then turned to snow, and everything froze, and so it's never good when it starts a season that way, just because you get this layer of ice, and it's always hard to get off, right? So we'll be fine. It'll warm up enough for it all to melt, and then get ahead of it with some salt and be good.
Okay.
Tis Wisconsin, baby.
So what's the temp?
It's a good question.
All right, we'll hold.
38. Alexa, what's the temperature? Let's see.
Right now, it's 41 degrees.
41. Alexa,
Wow, man. I would love 41 degrees. That'd be great.
41. Cool. A little snow on the ground, enough to make it wet and slippery and gross, but it's all good.
All right. So anyway, how's things? What's the latest and the greatest? Schools don't close over that, do they? All right, we are on. Okay, I wanted to make sure that we were live.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I wish. Let me give a shout out to all
Sure, go ahead. I'll please do that publicly. That was very, very. Go ahead. I'm ready for it.
to all the nerds in the martial arts industry.
Oh, okay.
And to the king of the nerds, Mr. Shane Tassoul. So I didn't know you wanted me to shout you out and publicly like that, but we'll do that.
Yes. And the founder of the Nerds Club, Mike Metzger. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, that's very kind. Hey, real quick, Perry, am I going to be able to see comments here by chance?
Sure.
Sure.
This is a new.
This is a new way of doing things.
You'll definitely see them.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Hey, if anybody's watching, Perry, is anybody watching us today?
Watching.
All right. So we can't waste people's time.
All right. So
okay, there are some on. I see your comment. That's a good sign. So I'm looking down at my phone. So let's talk Tass.
Yeah.
I don't have time for your games today. So let's just dive
So
in.
are you going to do ADD? Are you going to do the shout out, or was that the nerd shout out and you're good? And we're all good now, or was there a shout out that you were going to do?
That was it.
Oh, perfect. Good.
I've never given you the shout out, and I wanted to acknowledge you.
I appreciate that very much.
All right. So anyway, let's talk free trials, paid trials, pros, cons. What's better? What's worse? Why are you right and I'm wrong?
Oh, if only.
And by the way, don't just tell people what it is. Let's give a logical explanation on why you think one is better than the other, and maybe in certain circumstances, free ones are better than paid, and paid's better than free.
That could be. I would think this would be a bit of a controversial topic, right? Because I don't know that there's, as a majority, let me say it this way, as a majority, I don't know how many people are changing their offers on a regular basis to be able to contribute to the conversation. Let me just say it that way, right? Because it was us for years. We did 2 weeks in a uniform for $25 and it worked great, right? So I can test and I can veer from that and test something else and go back. And we did that a few times, and which is kind of why we just stuck with that. But that was pretty much our go-to special for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe, right? Some people have been doing 6 weeks for $69 for 15, 20 years now, right? Whatever it's been. And so then I would say to those people, well, you don't really have a voice in whether or not you think a paid trial or a free trial is better.
Wow.
If you haven't actually done the A/B split test to figure that out, right? Now, do I believe there's pros and cons? Of course, there's pros and cons to everything, right? And you may be where I'm at right now, where how about like we do this? Ask me the question, is it better to have a trial or no trials? Because right now, you know, the way things are, I would take a trial over no trials at all. So,
well, I agree. And let's talk. I just talked about this. We did a master class I covered for Miss Chris Rodriguez for the elite group, and just got off the master class. And one of the things on there was about progress checks and trials. But listen, let me say this.
Get to the point.
Let me say this, Tass.
Don't be shooting down my ideas.
Dude, I'd run out of bullets if I did that. If here's one mistake, free or not. If you do a free trial, I would say if you do a free trial, do a free trial class, period. Not a free month trial, not a free 2-week trial, not a free week trial. I would say do a free trial class. The reason is when somebody comes in, if you do a trial that's short or has no value, monetary value to the customer, there's a less chance they're going to show back up as opposed if they paid for a trial. If I pay money for 4 weeks, I more than likely want to get my money's worth and come for all 4 weeks, right? If it's free, I may yeah, we'll get there. And I may not ever come back, and no harm, no foul, no nothing, right? Second thing you got to think about when you do a trial, whether it's paid or for free. If you do a short-term trial, when I say free trial class, by the way, soon as that trial class is over, you're either enrolling them as a student or you're getting them on a paid trial. One of the two. You're either going to get the enrollment or you're going to get them on a paid trial. But if you do too short of a trial, how many of you have ever experienced where you sign somebody up on a trial, 2-class trial, 1-week trial, but even in a 1-week trial, most people don't come every day. They come twice maybe, right, in a 1-week trial. And you got busy, you missed them, and they're done with their trial. And now you got to try to play phone tag and try to get them to come back in to enroll. But they're already out of your school. The emotion's gone. They're busy now. They're outside in the real world. That's hard, right? So I like a paid trial for individuals for example, 4 weeks. Why? Because I need to set up a progress check appointment in the 2nd week, and I need it to be an appointment. So I know it's on the books. I'm not going to schedule anything. I'm going to confirm that appointment, remind them of their appointment. And if I don't get them enrolled in the 2nd week of the trial, I know I still have chances at getting them because they still have 2 more weeks that they paid for on a trial. And I'll say this, and then I'm going to throw it to you. The only other time that I would do a free trial is when it's a group trial, such as a mass enrollment. We will disguise that, and that's disguised marketing, as a free community event. a free goal setting seminar for kids, or a free fitness and team building self-defense seminar for adults, or whatever you want to do, and that's on a Saturday at a certain time, free of charge. But right after that class, I'm offering a special because there's a group of people to enroll on our program now. Now, what happens if people don't enroll right now? I will fall back on a paid trial for those people who want to get a little bit more experience before they make a decision. But I'll go for the enrollment. If I don't get the enrollment, I'll go for the paid trial. So, Tass, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, here's some things to think about too, right? If you're and Metzger may not agree with this, by the way. I'm just going to call this out. Probably won't.
Who came up with it?
You did, but I'm just going to regurgitate it.
I agree.
All right, perfect, good. So this is how you overcome these challenges, people. You just let him know originally that this was his idea at one point in time. Now we'll see if he remembers or not, but it wasn't, I don't believe. But some of you that may be one person, one man, one woman operations as an example, it can be difficult, even if you space your classes every 15 minutes and do a class and then a 15-minute gap to talk to someone in a class, 15-minute gap, maybe hard to talk to people. And so you may need, in my opinion, if I was in a school, I'd be selling programs out of the gates and fall back to a trial. But I believe, and this is going to sound horrible, right? But I believe that a lot of us have a hard time developing rapport in a very short window and period of time and trying to get them to enroll into your program. Now, if you're a month-to-month school, this is probably pretty simple because there's not a lot of rapport that's needed because they feel safe. If they want to be done, they can cancel within 30 days. But it doesn't matter if you're charging $120 a month or $220 a month. And if it's month to month, it's still someone has to pay. And there needs to be some rapport built there in order to conduct business per se, right? So I'm of the mindset that a lot of people should be going into the mindset of when someone comes into your school, it's a cost of doing business is putting them onto a trial. And why do I say that? Because I believe that what happens is the floor is what sells the program. In the office, we just simply do the paperwork and close it. And for most of us, the majority of us, if we don't understand how to present it properly and be able to build that rapport, and I'll say be a salesperson, because to sell somebody on the first time that they come in and do a free evaluation lesson, there's a system for it, but a little charisma, a little charm, a little salesperson does not hurt at all. But it would be easier to get somebody to come in, commit to a trial, show them the values and benefits and all the things, sell it from the floor. And so when they come in this case, as Metzger was saying, a 4-week trial at the halfway point, well, they've experienced you 3 or 4 times now where they've been there. And now they're starting to understand things a lot better. The know, like, and trust factor starts to go up. And that's why at that point, then I would go for the enrollment. So I'm a big advocate of, this doesn't answer the question about free versus paid, but I'm a big advocate of putting people on a trial first, especially if you don't have someone who is a strong closer out of the gates, right? Now, free community events, different deal. 100% I would go for the program because I'm only going to see them that day and they're going to be gone. Then I can always have a reason to follow up with them on some sort of shorter term trial. We giving you kind of the short answer is, regardless of what you do, like this is the time of the year that we'll do a special, right? Train the rest of the year for $99, includes uniform and a $75 Visa or Amazon gift card, as an example. Well, the design behind that is just to get bodies on the floor, right? It's the quality of, or the quantity of people, right? Not the quality of the revenue that we're going to collect. And I think if most of you would step back and really understand, it's not so much the revenue on the front end, right? It's not acquiring a new trial or not even acquiring a new student, but it's what happens 3 months, 4 months later. That's where the big pop of revenue actually happens. And so it's very interesting, the life cycle of the school. A lot of the transactional stuff in our school happens in the first 12 months, right? And probably close to the first 6 months, if I'm being honest. And there's a lot that goes on within that first 6 months. But if you're advertising and marketing online, this train the rest of the year special for $99, and you're trying to collect $99 online, that is a very difficult thing to do. Some of you are going to say, well, I've got 15 people that pay $99. That's great. I'm not saying it doesn't happen or can't happen, but it's much harder to get someone, a stranger, to commit to pay $99 online, even though they're getting a $75 Visa gift card, because to them it could look like it's a sham. They just don't know, right? And so I would rather have that online marketing promote the fact that come in for a free evaluation lesson, and then if you want to proceed, everything looks good one before, then at that point we can do whatever that special is. I'm just not a big advocate of taking money online, especially if it's a bigger dollar amount. I'd rather do the free evaluation lesson and then conduct that business in person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I keep looking down. I apologize. I'm looking at just seeing if anything's coming in here because I can't see anything here. Anyway, but yeah, so listen, here's the other thing that I want to tell you though, is if people are keeping stats, hello, Brian. And by the way, Mr. Perry's laptop's going to die soon unless we get it plugged in. So if we're keeping stats, traffic stats, I'm talking about specifically, not financial stats, meaning how many leads are you getting? How many appointments are showing up? How many conversions are you getting? How many enrollments are you getting? And if you're getting a high percentage, and what does the industry say? Thanks, sir. The industry says that, 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your appointments set show, 80% of the ones that show enroll. Well, then don't change it, right? Don't change it, because whatever is happening is working. The other thing I want to bring up that you were saying, Tass, is a lot of owner operators that are watching. It's your business. You live and die by the business. You might have the charisma and the rapport building skills to get people enrolled and sell them in the office. But if you want to scale your business, or if you want to hire people to help you, most people aren't salesmen, right? So you have to have a system in place where we can keep those conversions just as high. And I would ask everybody watching, do you believe the sale happens on the floor or the sale happens in the office? Right? You got to decide, where does the sale happen? The close, I believe, happens in the office, but the sale happens on the floor, right? So then it's like, well, what's your floor like? How easy are you making it for somebody to want to get in that office or that front desk and enroll in your program? The problem is I know the answer, because here's something else that I've said in the past, Mr. Tass, for bringing up things that I may have said in the past. I don't usually ask questions I don't know the answers to. And I know that the majority of this industry loses people because it's not systemized, and they bring people in, whether it's paid or free. And people, I missed them, I didn't see them, and now you're trying to get them on the phone, call them to come back in to enroll. And you have no idea over the course of a year how many potential students that has cost you by missing people, by not having an appointment. I mean, what are you going to do if it's not on your appointment book and somebody's there for their last class of their trial? And a parent comes in, a regular student, and a parent comes in and has a complaint about something or needs your attention for something. And you're like looking over there and class is over and that prospect is walking out now. What are you going to do? Like, you're going to miss them, right? So everything needs to be by appointments, regardless of free or not. But again, on a free trial, I would only do that if it's a free class. I wouldn't do longer than that because you can miss them. So last thing I'll say is you always want to get somebody financially committed to your business. Doesn't have to be a big amount. Could be $29, could be $49, could be $19. But get a prospect financially committed, because that increases your odds of them coming back into your school to get what they paid for, which gives you another opportunity to sell the values and benefits of your program and gives you an extra chance at getting them enrolled. Thank you, Tess. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Here's the thing, right? It's with paid trials, with any trial. Here's what I'm hearing, right? Either people don't have the leads right now, or there's a lot of people that have a lot of leads and they're not booking appointments. And this is you can only know this if you track your numbers, right? And then you can know what you can fix. Like, and you can go down the list. But there's people that have high leads, high appointments, low shows, right? And so, but you don't know that until and unless you look at your numbers and you track your stats. And I know it's something I always go back to and we talk about. It's not sexy and all the things, but the question is, do you have a lead problem? Do you have an appointment booking problem? Do you have an appointment show problem? Or do you have an enrollment problem? And here's the thing: there is a disconnect between the social media agency, right, and the martial arts school. Because in the social media agency, they understand, and they should be telling you, their job, their responsibility is to do what? Generate you leads. That's their responsibility, right? Well, part of that process, or maybe what your expectation is, well, they're going to book the lead, they're going to get the lead to show, and then I'm going to enroll the lead. But sometimes that middle section isn't happening the way it needs to happen, right? And so you got to make sure you're tracking your numbers and you see where things are at. Are we actually getting to do what we say we're going to do? Are we getting to from one point to the next? Or are we missing that? And if you'll know where that is, and then you'll know exactly what to work on, right? What to fix. Do I fix my offer first to get more leads? Oh, leads are great. Oh, they're not no-showing. Well, it's because we're doing free trials. Maybe if we change it where they got to pay $10 to hold their spot, as an example, if you're A/B split testing, well, maybe you're like, wow, that did the trick. Or, hey, that didn't work. We got to figure something else out. But you don't know what to fix if you're not, like you said, if you're not tracking the stats.
Got to track the stats. And if you are going to test anything, if you charge the $10 as an example, and you see your leads get cut in half, but your show rates increase by 50%, that might be okay, right? So at the end of the day, here's the last thing that I'll say, that so we don't keep people long as we normally do on these, but at the end of the day, your job isn't to get leads and your job isn't to get trials. Your job is to get new students. So keep in mind what the end goal is, right? It's not a contest of how many leads did you get last month, right? How many trials did you have last month? I really don't care how many trials you had or leads. Tell me how many enrollments you got last month. Remember, that is what you're ultimately doing. Everything else to the enrollments are steps. Well, how many steps do you need to get an enrollment effectively and efficiently? And if you can cut some steps out, great. If you can enroll somebody the first day they walk in without even trying a class, fantastic. But the majority of people cannot do that effectively and efficiently.
Right.
So then, how many can do it after one class? Some. How many can do it after 3 classes if you systemize it, where you have a progress check, the instructors know that here's the students that are on trial, make sure they're not lost, make sure we understand their needs, their wants, what they're looking to get out of the program. So when you bring them back in the office after that 3rd class with an appointment, you can ask them, how are you liking the program? Can you see how this can really help you with blank, whatever it is they told you when they came in for the trial appointment? So anyway.
Well, you nailed it, right? It's one of those things where you got to look at your numbers, then you play with it, you test it, you figure out what are we going to do. And that is your job really as an owner, right? It's the marketing piece. That's one of the jobs, is constantly looking at what can we do to adjust and modify, because there is no foolproof system, right? There's people that are crushing it right now on free trials, people that are crushing it on paid trials. And the real answer is whatever works for you. But if you're stuck, try and change some things to see if you can make it work for yourself.
We have a couple questions. Mr. Manilli says, can you quickly role play the free class pitch for the paid trial if they don't wish to enroll after the free class? Don't overcomplicate it. They did.
If you're stuck, try and change some things to see if you can make it work for yourself. I can't hear you. No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. Okay. First of all, this is part of a bigger system. So the answer is going to be out of context because it would be a 40-minute seminar, really. But the question is, if somebody does a free class, they don't want to enroll. So what is it that I say to them to do a trial? I'll say, well, listen, Mrs. Johnson, if you're not totally sure yet, why don't we do this? Why don't you do our 4-week trial? It's only $49. By the way, it includes a uniform if you want to include a uniform. This way, it'll give you a really good opportunity to see the values and benefits of our program before making the commitment. Plus, you know what? It's going to be a great opportunity to see if this is something Johnny would really enjoy or Sarah would really enjoy. Would you like to take advantage of the $49 trial, and we can get you set up on that now? That's the closing question. So that's a quick example.
Right.
Next, somebody said, how do you lead? How do you lead from a $49 for 4 weeks to $125 a month? I had people say, oh, I thought it was $49 every month. Well, if you had people say that, I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that's a small percentage of people. We are doing a special right now where it's 4 weeks for $49. It's a trial special, right? Typically, a lot of times, as you all know, people will say when they sign up for a trial or they call you or they come in for their first class, they'll say, well, how much are the classes after the trial? This is also part of the system. The way I tell people, it's not how much you charge, it's how you charge it by giving options. So we tell them, well, after your trial lesson, depending on once we do the progress check and I meet with you in your third class in your second week, we're going to have a better idea of where we'd want your child and which program. We have programs that start as low as blank a month. So right off the bat, they will know we have programs that start as low as blank a month. Now, when you're sitting here listening to me, if you haven't been in the elite program, you're probably thinking, well, what do you mean? Well, starts as low as a month. We sell programs, not memberships. We're not a gym membership. It's not $149 a month, and that's what you train in. You're going to purchase a program with us, and you can finance that program however you want. If you put more money down, your monthly payment's going to be lower. If you put less money down, your monthly payment's going to be higher. That's the concept. Don't go do that. I mean, there's a system there, but my point is if people ask that, but at the end of the day, if somebody says to me, oh, I thought it was $49 a month. No, that's just our trial special. We do have 4 different ways you can pay for your program. Here it is. Well, I thought it was $40. Yeah, unfortunately, it isn't. Our prices are this for our basic core program. This is what it includes. These are the values and benefits. By the way, Mrs. Johnson, if price is what matters most to you, I believe the YMCA up the street has a martial arts program, and I think they may charge $50 a month. Unfortunately, here, our instructors are certified, background check. We have many people on payroll. Like, why do you charge whatever it is you charge? What's your answer to that? But I've told people that if price is what you're looking for, we are not the cheapest. So I can refer you to a school maybe or the Y or wherever. So I don't hide anything. I'm totally upfront with people.
By the way, that also probably is a function of the structure of the way you're setting up your marketing, right? So if you're just marketing 4 weeks in uniform for $49 as an example, and you're not giving any people. But by the way, here's a question for you, right? You get a money saver catalog. It says 10% off your roof repair, or it says $500 off. Well, what's the better value? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. If my roof is going to be $200,000, well, guess what, right? I'm going to take the 10% off, right? That's a $20,000 coupon for me, as opposed to a $500 off. There's no frame of reference or value on those coupons when I see those coupons in these books, right? So they're doing one thing. They're trying to get the estimate, trying to get you to get the estimate, get the quote. My point in saying this is when you do your marketing, you may want to consider that and understand that if you're just putting 4 weeks of uniform for $49, that may program people to think that's what it is, as opposed to normally this would be X, but here's the trial special of Y. So it might be on the front end of the marketing piece of that as well. And Metzger called it out. Sometimes what happens, we get knee-jerk reactions for a very small percentile or percentage of things that happen within our school. Oh my God, our attrition rate is horrible. Well, because you happen to lose 4 people in 1 week where it was 1 person a week, but it feels like it's more than normal right now, right? Or we didn't enroll that and you're focusing on 2 out of 10 people that didn't enroll, and we're going to tell you you're not going to enroll everybody anyways. And so we're majoring in the minors. But if that's not the case, and that is the majority of the people that are coming in, then I would say you probably have a marketing challenge as to how you're delivering that marketing and not showing them what the value is and what they're getting for it and why, you're doing what you're doing as far as the trial is concerned.
Right, exactly. And I was going to mention that. Sometimes we listen to the small voices, and that's the big thing. We start changing things because of it, and you're not listening to the majority of people. So stats is what's going to tell you. And then when following up with those that have trialed but did not enroll, do you give another trial or enrollment with discount? No, we don't give them a trial again. They've already tried it, for example, for 4 weeks or whatever you did, right? They tried it. We didn't do a good enough job to show the values and benefits and get them enrolled. We're not going to let them try it again and do another trial. However, if you do a 4-week trial and you meet with them in the 2nd week, whatever they paid you for that trial, if they enroll now, we'll apply that to the program. Maybe we'll even double that. If it's $49, I'll double it, give you $100 off the program. Plus, I'll still give you the 2 weeks that you paid for on the trial. Won't have your first payment start for 3 or 4 weeks from now. Do you want to take advantage of that savings and enroll now? I'll do that. And then if they still don't enroll, that's when they get invited to our free community events that I talked about earlier, which is like Focus for Better Grades or a self-defense seminar or whatever. And that's the follow-ups as we go on with time to get them back in our building again, to get another chance at showing the values or benefits of the program. So there's a whole system to that. And then what's your experience with raising prices on your programs? Do you find that it incentivizes people to jump on board now? 100% it does. That's a call to action. So yes, if you're going to raise prices, make your new pricing sheets. You determine when you want to put that in place. When you're going for an enrollment, show the prices and say, just to let you know, I want to show you that our prices are going up soon and these are about to go out. So if you want to lock in your price, we can get you enrolled now. You can take advantage of that savings and get enrolled now. Would you like to take advantage of that and get enrolled now? That's an example of another call to action. The other thing I don't do is if I raise rates, I don't raise rates on my current members that are on a program. But what it does is incentivizes them to renew their program early, because I'll say, hey, Mrs. Johnson, I know your program is going to be expired. You don't do it this way, but the concept is in 3 months, your program's expiring. Our rates have gone up 6 months ago. If you want to keep your current rate, we're doing a special where if you want to renew early, we'll lock you in for another 12 months, 6 months, whatever it is at your current rate. Do you want to take advantage of that? You don't have to. Just understand that when your program expires, rates did go up 6 months ago, we'll go to these rates. So that's an incentive to get renewals. It's an incentive to get upgrades. So that's a call to action when you raise rates.
And by the way, that raising rates can be great, and not even for your new people, right? A lot of you think about it for your new people. It's for your existing people, but done correctly, right? You give them a reason to do it. Yeah, you give them a reason to do it. Now, we don't go and blanket increase everybody. That's just not what we do, right? But that's where the bigger play is. And if I told you, a $10 price increase, and some of you aren't going to believe me on this, but in 24 months in your school, everybody's going to be at the higher price point. The majority of your people are going to be there, because if you're sitting at a 4 or 5% attrition rate, which is most people are more than that, but even at a 5% attrition rate, that's 60% a year. Over the course of 2 years, it's 120% turnover in your school. It's not meaning that there's not going to be anybody that's been in your school for 24 months, but as a whole, you've turned your school over 100 or 120%. And so the majority of the people that are there will be paying the higher price point, is kind of the mentality behind that. But that's the deal. So yeah, I think, you got to do what works for you on trials, right? That ultimately it's what it comes down to. And most of us, I maybe I'm going to go on a limb here, because I'm in the same boat, but most of you don't even know what works and what doesn't work, because you've turned that over to an agency for you. And the agency will send you, if you're like me, here's what happens. The agency is going to send you an email that says, well, what do you want your special to be for next month? And you're not going to provide them with assets. You're not going to provide them with a special, probably. Just keep doing what we've been doing. And they're not going to change anything for you if you don't ask things to be changed. And so therefore, it's Groundhog Day and you're running the same special over and over and over and over again because you didn't focus on it. Social media agencies are great because they can do the work for you. But I also think you need to spend some time and have some ideas and brain power as to, well, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. This is kind of the change that I'm looking to do. And then have them implement that change for you, right? But they're not gonna think on your behalf like, hey, I think this would be a better, trial for you, right? That's up to you. That's up to you to figure those things out. They're gonna get you leads. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to determine. We say this with consulting, right? Any consulting company that you're with, like, they're the best. Well, how do you know they're the best? Well, how do you know your trial's the best? If you've never tested your trial against a different trial or another trial, how do you know it's really the best, right? And so I would encourage everybody to really look at that, look at the offer, because that's what does make the difference, in your trials. And let's see what we can do to get some more people in, whether that's paid or free. And at the end of the day, it's about enrolling more students, right? That's really what it comes down to.
There it is. Well, thank you, Tass.
Oh, sure, surely.
And we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
And Tass, I wish you great luck this Saturday.
Oh, and thank you so much, Mr. Metzger. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Mr. Tass.
Yes.
Anyway, all right, guys, thank you. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks here, but we appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully we give you some things to think about and help you out a little bit. So
right on.
We will see everyone soon.
Take care, everybody.